Now, about Professor Krishnamoorthy, I've actually listened to his sharing way back in August 2018, and I'm back here today, and I'm glad to be here still. Professor Krishnamoorthy, it's kind of a long name. Many people call you Krishna. Yeah. And
famous name.
you know, straight away, the name reminds me of that book, May 9th. And I think some of you have got the book in your hands. Prof. Krishna is a man of many talents because of his many years of experience. 11 years with 11 with Straits Times and 15 years with The Star, and ending up as the chief editor and 35 chief reporter, and the 35 years overall of career in various sectors, including media and so on. Now, as I was going through his portfolio, he had things like his work, his career, his lecturing. He lectured at some prominent universities in Malaysia, and that's why he's got that name, professor. He had his education in Kiel, US, Kiel, and over the years, what is most striking for me is the wealth of experience he had and his willingness and his passion to share this experience, really through trainings of various people across various sectors. Now I realized that if I were to give his portfolio, we're going to go home at midnight. And therefore, I shall save myself the trouble. And ladies and gentlemen, now what's special about Prof. Krishna is, if you check his website or I Googled him, and something which struck me, the ending part, let's meet and talk. Call at 012-652-4327, email Krishnamoorthy, etc., etc. Ladies and gentlemen, this itself speaks so much about him. He wants to meet and talk, and in that way, he gets to share his wealth of knowledge. And ladies and gentlemen, you all are a privileged crowd to have with us Professor Krishnamoorthy. Please help me welcome Professor Krishnamoorthy.
I'm here because of this book, and let me tell you all how I wrote this book and the story behind this. I work for CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, and several Australian TV networks. And my daughter, who was working for another international TV network, and she was covering the general election 14G14, and she couldn't handle another request by UK's Guardian. So she said, can you help this girl? She's flying down from Bangkok, Hannah, a British girl. So I was at the first press conference where Mahathir, when he crossed the border and announced at the first press conference at 11:30 on May 9th. And actually the first title was, when I gave it to him to see the cover, it was Mahathir saves Malaysia from kleptocracy. That was the first title. Then later we said that, giving Mahathir too much of promise, let's the people, we save Malaysia. So that's why the title, People Power Saves Malaysia, and then he leads the way, May 9th. And the book is also because I've been covering him for many years, and it's a collection of what went on, and I was already predicting and preparing for about 2 years before the elections that Barisan will lose. And I even have a page here where you all probably know these names, Bridget Welch, the American lady, and then which is Terence Gomez, other well-known writers, predictors, and Jomo Sundaram. All I attended their talks before the elections. Everybody said Barisan will win marginally, and I've put their names here and said they said it at these talks at the Selangor Club. On Sunday mornings we attended. It's a private group of people, and about 50-60 of us, and I quoted them here. They said Barisan. So I stood up there and I spoke and I said no. On the ground, when I go down with CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, they are telling me that they will lose. The people on the ground are telling the CNN. So they said no, it's marginally. And I put that in record that they said these things. Bridget Welch too. So later they didn't like it that I put them on record that they said this. But anyway, we are privileged to get this facility free because of this man here. He's a Bollywood, you can see Bollywood actors around the pictures. And this was introducing him to Mahathir at his Haraya house. And this place belongs to him. And he's given it free of charge without any, the projector and everything. So let's start with the first slide. Yeah. Okay. Before another introduction to this, a lot of people like Kim and Sri said, about wanting to write a book. I had very good friends, my editors and very close friends in Al Jazeera and everywhere, who said that, why are you writing this book, And a lot of people will say these things because out of jealousy, out of, why, and this is my 6th book. And one of my American professors, when I used to teach in Xiamen University in Sepang, and one of the American professors there told me, Krishna, normally it's the 5th or 6th book only you will hit it. And I was very lucky, 10,000 copies sold, this book through NPH. And 2 weeks ago I got the top award, #1 award for the Star Popular Book Best Reader's Choice. And so there are 5 things you must remember in book writing. Never have a vision. Have a vision. Have a big one that you're going to do it, and you will do it, and you'll get it out. You can set a deadline. Now, there are, don't listen to naysayers who will tell you not to write, who will tell you, don't waste your time. Some even ask me whether I'm getting paid. I said, 5 books I've written, never got paid, and even this book I'm not getting paid. So the other thing is that when you do a good thing like this, you want to share with people. My next book that I'm working on, which will be out in maybe about 3 months, is a thing that write a book that interests everybody. People's power. This one was, we all brought in a new government, after 61 years of corrupt rule. So my next book tackles the biggest problem in Malaysia, disunity. So the title will be like 3 words only. Love ends hate. Love ends hate. We have a problem with, unity in this country. So naysayers, and the ultimate thing is, the 5th thing is, give back to society. Writing this book is like actually giving back to society, sharing. And another thing I did was, as the president of High Authors Club, I asked for volunteers to contribute. So about 10 to 15% of the back portion is by other writers. And probably my next book will be also Krishnamoorthy and Malaysians, because a lot of us, a lot of friends will contribute. So let's start with the first slide. Every time when you have write a book, put the interesting facts first. Right, go on. Right, maybe can you read this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, why don't you read all that slide?
Interesting facts. Always put the interesting facts first. Make sure you have a plan for your book to guide you. Let real people inspire your cast of characters. Read, and read some more. Just get to the end.
Okay, next. Somebody?
After you finish writing your book, get feedback, dare to be different, write an amazing book designed for success.
I'll try and make this interactive so that, next slide. Oh, you want to read?
Yeah.
Good,
What's
good.
your genre? We'll help you
What's
find
your genre?
Genre, okay. We'll help you find the right publisher. Publishing service providers publish books of all genres, and there's a very wide spectrum of genres out there. It's important to know that different publishers specialize in different types of books. That's why you need to find the publishers that's right for you.
I was very lucky that the MPH CEO was a good friend of mine, and this is how it all started. First, my daughter gives me the assignment, inspires me, and then 2 weeks after the elections, I call him and I tell him, hey, I've done him a lot of favors, before when I was in the Star and other papers, writing articles on his books, the new books, and he immediately came for Tosa at Grand City behind my house near University Hospital, and he said, okay, how soon can you get it? I said, in about 3 weeks. I said, okay, I'll give you 1 month, and that's how we got this book out. I had the blessings of the CEO of MPH himself, who inspired me and said, and then he said, and publishers, if you're writing a hot book, they were looking for somebody, or they already commissioned somebody. I think Mahathir's people had commissioned somebody for almost $500,000, and that guy, the moment I came out so fast, within 1.5 months after the elections, I captured the market. So the 500,000 guy didn't even do the project. Anyway, so it was very lucky that they really got it for zero. It's always be with people who encourage you, inspire you, ignite you, and want to boost your morale and your interest in writing books. The naysayers, stay far away from them. Next one. Okay, so if you have an outline of the book and you probably want to have, say you're writing a book on meditation, I'll make it interactive so you all participate. So you all won't sleep.
History of meditation, types of meditation, meditation and mindfulness. Beginning your practice, learning to breathe, how to sit the monkey mind.
Okay, now see, I like that kind of humor because you all are laughing the way he reads it. One of the things that really helped me push myself to the hilt, and there were times like at 3 a.m. I would get up and write because I couldn't sleep because the mind was churning out ideas. And then after writing, mind would be exhausted by 5 a.m. I had to work. I had to go to the university the next day at 8 o'clock to teach class. So I would meditate and recover. When you meditate for like about half an hour, it's like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. You get the real mind set through mindfulness. Okay, next one. Yeah, meditation helped me. That's right. Okay, Julie.
You may have another outline style that works well for you, but I find the skeleton outline is an easy and quick way to get your ideas on paper as you first get started. Outlining a fiction book is a little bit different because you are creating a narrative. Spend some time simply brainstorming and allowing your imagination to create a story in your head. Take some notes while brainstorming. Then come back and begin fleshing out your outline further. Creating your outline will first involve deciding on characters and the roles they will play in your story. Once you have a general idea of the main characters, you can use a skeleton outline for the story, or you can write a brief summary of the story and then determine how to break down the story into chapters.
Good. So it's very important that you have an outline, and like here, okay, the next one. Here, this is a real thing that is a chapter in my next book, and first, like reporters, you quote people, what happened, you quote the situation, and then after this, you will see how this is narrated. Maybe we could get any volunteers there?
Me?
Yeah. Okay then. Okay. Who wants to play Father Dola? Somebody's father and somebody's son. The next guy next to his son.
Looks like yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll read the first one. Father Dola's son Amin, daughter Amina can turn this into a satirical drama storytelling. First you see the dialogue which I've written, and then after that you see how you narrate the story with scenes and scenarios and moods and all that. Okay, start first.
Why is the former Prime Minister as always smiling despite more than 50 charges against him? Said Amin. First year university student from a public university.
Father? Richard father.
My dear son, Najib has done crime, and it will be soon proven in court. When you do crime, you have to do time. His short father Dola replied.
Time meaning going to jail?
No.
Next one. Next slide.
Yes, it's simple. If you dig your hands into the nation's till, which is the cash box, you have broken the laws, and you'll be broken in no time, cause you almost make the nation bankrupt. And Najib's advisor Idris Jala said so.
Sister Amina, carry on. The father-son conversation was at the home located in Petalinjaya. While watching television news portraying Najib leaving the court, smiling after he was charged over looting 1MDB funds. Sister Amina walked into the lounge, could not resist, but to say with a swagger, who can play sister? Sister, you want to read that?
Najib got into all this trouble because of his wife Rosma, led a luxurious life with Birkin bags and pink diamond rings.
Amina! See what Rosma's lifestyle has done to you. You seem to like what Rosma has done by buying millions of ringgit in jewelry. The police had to raid her properties and confiscate jewelry worth millions in gold, silver, and platinum.
Next slide. Okay, now this is the storytelling part. Maybe Kim, you can read this part. Start off.
The subdued beams of
from the dialogue, now the real story, you narrate the story. This is how I wrote it.
The subdued beams of the impending sunlight lit up the dim green of the luxurious garden, where an elderly man sat with his family, savoring the last rays of the setting sun. Amid the gushing waters from the gigantic waterfall, a light breeze sent a caressing comfort to a young man, perplexed with the complexities of humanity.
Back again.
Sorry.
That's confused.
Same thing.
Why is Najib, former Prime Minister, always smiling and walking triumphantly despite being slapped with more than 50 charges? Said Amir, first year university student in the public school university.
My dear son, Najib has done a lot of wrong to the nation. It is crime after crime, and soon his heyday will be over. When you do crime, you have to do time. Distraught father Dola replied, creasing further the lines on his forehead.
Time? Meaning going to jail? Asked the young man.
Yes, it's simple. We all grew up with the golden rule that we must not steal or cheat. If you dip your hands into the nation's steel, you have broken the laws and you will be broken in no time. Because you are robbing ordinary citizens who do not sit at the grand throne, but toil beyond sunset. You keep on gulping from the nation's cup, and in the end, that big cup will run dry. Didn't Najib's advisor Idris say so too?
While the father and son were deeply engaged in the conversation, Amina was watching the late news showing Najib leaving the court. With his signature wave and smile, she ran into the garden to break the news to her brother and father. She could not resist but say with a swagger,
Najib got into all this trouble because of his wife Rosma, who had a fetish for Birkin bags and pink diamond rings.
Amina! See, many young people may envy Rosma's high and lofty lifestyle, but her careless indulgence in fine jewelry has robbed her of her peace. The police had to raid her properties and confiscate jewelry worth millions in gold, silver, and platinum. She probably spends all her waking hours guarding her possessions.
Amina gave a pensive nod. If only the money could be spent enabling and enhancing the lives of common folks who have to juggle with multiple jobs and still never having enough for the basic necessities, she thought. Do we call this a game of luck or fate, where one flips the card and gets ahead, while others have to contend with the leftovers? She looked up, greeted by ever-benign moon that shares her light with everyone, rich or poor, fair or dark, able or disabled. Wouldn't life be simpler yet richer if we see each other as fellow sojourners, pitching for a rightful tent in this huge planet, instead looking at each other through colored lenses? When our vision is tinted, we risk highlighting differences and creating divisions rather than embracing an inclusive community that celebrates diversity. That's it. Okay, so you all get an idea of how dialogue is narrated. You know, the first example and the second. What are your feelings about that dialogue? It's current, it's topical, everybody's talking about it. So put those interesting facts. And your readers want to read that kind of stuff, because readers want to read what they are familiar with, you know. Okay, maybe you go from this side. You each one slide.
How to start the book? Step 1.
Determine your goal.
Are you writing a book for fun, to promote your businesses, to build your credibility? Think about the end goal of this book you want to write and how it will serve you and your readers. This will help you determine if you want to write fiction or non-fiction. For now, don't make your goal related to earning millions of dollars. See this first book as an experience and a way to learn more about the process. But even if it's an experiment, you want to produce the best product you can. That's professional and well written.
Okay, next one.
Step 2 of writing a book. Define your topic. Once you are clear on your goal, start thinking about the topic of the book. If you are writing a non-fiction book, think about exactly what you are trying to communicate or teach in writing this book.
Okay, next slide.
Read everything, trash, classics and good and bad, and see how they do it. Just like a carpenter who works as an apprentice and studies the master, read. you'll absorb it, then write. If it is good, you'll find out. If it is not, throw it out of the window.
Okay, these are what great authors said about writing the book. Continue, William Faulkner.
I kept
That's what
always-
William Faulkner said, yeah.
I kept always 2 books in my pocket. One to read, one to write in, by Robert Louis Stevenson. You can make anything by writing. C.S. Lewis. And a word after a word is power, by Margaret Atwood.
Okay, who's
Okay, step 3 of writing a book, create an outline. Once you have your topic idea formed, begin outlining the chapters and or section of the book. Try to think from the end of the book first. What do you want your reader to walk away with at the end? How do you want the story to culminate? Once you have a general idea of how your book will end, create the book outline moving forward toward that end. If you are writing non-fiction, you may be breaking down chunks of information to teach your readers something sequential, or each chapter might be an individual lesson or essay on its own, all leading to a final converging point of message. You may decide you want to support or to enhance the material with stories, quotes, or examples.
Okay, good. How many of you all got this copy of the books there? If you all turn to the first few pages, first page, instead of forward and all that, I wrote the first page, thank you for another day. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Thank you for another day. Sister, can you read that? Thank you for another day. Right at the beginning. Okay.
Thank you for another day. I must wake up to the dawn of day. Say thank you, Lord, for giving me another great day to help myself, family, friends, and strangers. When I wake up at the dawn of day, I must not forget to meditate, jog my mind with good thoughts, and exercise my body and mind to perform good deeds for the day. As I do my yoga stretching and bathing my cells with the flush of blood nourishing every cell in my body, I must, for a moment, ponder for peace for the rest of the world. Like the cells in my body, may people around the world start the day with novel thoughts and proactive initiatives, wanting to help everyone they come into contact with. So God, hold me by my hand and lead me through this land, loving, caring, and serving everyone I come in contact with, to see, do, and get what will bring them happiness. And if I do falter, please halt my wrong thoughts, actions, and ego, to stop me from hurting another's feelings. From dawn to dusk, every step or movement or action, I must self-improve my conduct and character, and help and guide others to do the same without hurting their feelings. This is my humble mission in life, to live, learn, love, and leave a legacy, if any, as I interact with my family, friends, and colleagues daily.
This I signed off the first page, and I taught this. A lot of my friends, even my close friends who helped me editing the book and all, and most of the editing was done by me, but occasionally I gave down. They said, Krishna, don't put this in the beginning. And a lot of my friends said they liked this at the beginning. Then immediately after that page, you can see why this book. And then I say it's because of May 9th, it's 93-year-old man, went through a lot of trouble and all that. Then I got the contents page, and then about the author, the head of English from Xiamen University, Jenny Go wrote that. Then for big little different, people will put dedication there. I put love and gratitude instead of dedication. Love and gratitude, that's in page 1A. Then Ambiga, a good friend of mine, I asked her to do the forward, and instead of, I put in brackets there, but the forward, I say that straight away, the forward, Ambiga tells it like it is. And then the other thing on introduction, on page 4, be different in your books. Instead of putting introduction, I put charting a new tomorrow, and then below in small letters. And the same thing, then I start off differently. Tribute to the man who started this whole journey of taking over a new government. Prologue by Mahathir himself. I didn't even ask him permission for this. because it was just straight from his shaded column, his blog. And be different if you want your book to sell. Okay, now see the chapter 1. It's again storytelling. Sister, you want to read it? This one? Chapter 1. Page 11. Page 11, yeah. Okay, so read it loudly, sister.
Will tomorrow ever come? In this nation, leadership is dollars, no one dear. It is often said that when it rains, it pours. The makeshift tent was trying hard to keep its balance amidst a merciless downpour. Ahmad was frantically fighting with the torrent while his mother hurriedly packed the unsold packets of nasi lemak, which is a Malay rice dish cooked in coconut milk and pandan leaf, into the box. They would call it a day as the rain had seemed determined to drench their business. Back in their 15-year-old Nissan car, Ahmad counted their earnings for the day. His little brother asked if he would get to buy a new pair of school shoes, for he did not want his feet to be soiled again. Ahmad nodded while holding back a sigh. Somewhere in the glittering distance, a rich lady had just added one more Birkin handbag to her insane collection that already filled up 70 boxes. Ahmad could not come to terms with a world obsessed with riches.
Okay, you all can see how I contrast the scenes. Poor family, and then compare and contrast with the. Continue, sister. There are another 2 paragraphs.
Just 3 years ago, Ahmad was like any teenager who did not have to worry about money. His father had a good job that gave them a comfortable life. They were not rich, but they had enough. But when his employer suffered a huge loss, Ahmad's father was retrenched. He had to work 2 jobs to put food on the table. In the day, he worked as a cashier in a restaurant that paid him barely enough to feed the family. He had to work as a security guard at night. This took a toll on his health and he suffered a mild heart attack. He gave up his night job and continued working in a restaurant while his wife had to sell nasi lemak, with Ahmad helping her.
Okay, fast forward, sister, and read the one against some of them.
Against a backdrop of unemployment and rising cost of living, Malaysians were in dire need of change. They tried and tried, but against a government that appeared tyrannical, they had to suffer in silence and hope against hope. Then came May 9, 2018. It was a decisive moment. Malaysians, burdened with a baggage of pent-up frustrations, anger and discontent.
Okay, thank you, sister. You all noticed the building up of the May 9. Sister, you had a question?
Yes, I noticed some words are being bold, put in the bold.
Oh, okay. That's again being different. Because you want, sometimes some people pick up a book, and when I pick up a book in the bookshop, I'll quickly scan through. And this one I learned in America when I was studying. If you put it in bold, people quickly look at the bold ones only. Then they won't decide to buy or whatever.
So how do you decide which words or which...
Oh, the significant things, like you see, Birkin handbag. Everybody knows that. Then obsessed with riches, you can see. Then you put May 9th in bold. Then Ahmad felt suffocated. Malaysians felt suffocated. This Ahmad is Malaysian, reflects Malaysian. So the important points where people can relate to.
So in that case, can I say so by just glancing through these words, then on a very simplified way, I can know what is...
Yes, that's right, exactly. Right. Okay.
Is Ahmad a real person or is an imagination?
Ahmad is everybody, Malaysians.
Okay.
Represents Malaysian, all the Malaysians.
We can put a personality.
Right. Ahmad. Right. And so you can see bold throughout the book. Okay, yeah.
Fiction or non-fiction?
No, it's real.
It's real.
It's under the non-fiction category, number one, Reader's Choice. Non-fiction, it's not fiction. And okay, oh boy. Okay, we got to move faster. Then if you see, Julie, you want to read chapter 2, page 17? Stealing the People's Will, page 17. Just the beginning, in the circle, you can start with in the circle.
In the circle of life, you get what you give out, or more commonly put, reap what you sow. The alarm rang at 4 in the morning. Ahmad dragged himself out of bed and helped his mother to pack the freshly cooked nasi lemak. He felt sorry for his mother, who had to sacrifice her sleep just to earn enough cash to give them a better future. How long, Ahmad thought, would this painful existence last? Didn't the Almighty up there see and hear the desperate cries of the people?
Okay, good. So you can see that the built-up is Ahmad reflects every Malaysian, right? You can relate to it, right? And that's how I did it. For over 61 years, BN stayed in power through continuing what the son. Anyway, the third chapter again builds up lies. You all see page 21, building up the stories. It's non-fiction. Lies, denials, and more lies. I said with a lot of people when I came out with the headlines, and we argued, and then at school, Ahmad's brother, you want to read that part?
Which one?
Page 21. Page 21. At school?
At school, Ahmad's teacher taught them the importance of honesty. Cheating is never condoned. A liar would need a good memory because he had to craft more lies to cover the existing lies, and in the end he would be overwhelmed by the avalanche of lies.
Okay, isn't this what's happening to Najib now? He's covering up lies after lies. And I wrote this much before. No, 10 months ago. Okay, carry on.
He raised his hand as soon as the teacher stopped talking. Why do adults lie? Didn't they learn this at school as too? There's no doubt that lies are covered by more lies. Najib has been in denial mode on any wrongdoing over the scandal-plagued State Fund 1 MDB.
This is 10 months or a year ago, and I could visualize. Carry on.
He had been very consistent with his answer, and that can be credited to his skill in crafting convincing tales. Just days before taking office, Dr. Mahathir's government had started investigating Najib for abuse of power. When asked at a press...
Okay, just stop. And then, sister, can you read page 24, the beginning? Mahathir leads the nation. Malaysians, page 24, just start with Malaysians.
Malaysians, including Ahmad and family, voted for the change. May 9 was a new day for Malaysians, a new chapter for Ahmad, Achong and Mutu.
Now you see the common names in Malaysian.
Common names for Malaysians, different races, Malay, Chinese and Indian, in our history is a unanimous vote for change.
Unanimous vote, sorry.
It's okay, just pass already.
It's an unanimous vote for change after 61 years of independence. Continue, Malaysians.
Malaysians have not only spoken but acted as their votes will now determine the destiny of the nation. The wind indicates a mood for change has gripped the country.
Okay, good. So you all get an idea of how the story is building up, and it builds up with facts and figures. Okay, who are we? Sister, you want to read this? Step 4 of writing.
Step 4 of writing a book, determine how you will write. I will write my books on my Mac using Pages word processing software and also use
Okay. Go to the next slide. Continue next slide. This is okay. Step 5. Go ahead.
Step 5 of writing a book, a writing schedule with the daily goals. This is the most important part of writing your book. You can't write only when you feel inspired or motivated. You must create a daily or 5-day-a-week writing habit. It's best if you can write at the same time every day and commit to a number of words you produce at each sitting.
Okay, we have to move fast because I don't have much time. Next slide. Continue, start small. This is free. I'm a person who believes in giving. That when I went for the interview with Paul is an old friend of mine, the president of the university, Central Health University. So I said, to me, HELP stands for helping everyone lovingly and passionately. So Paul said, hey, that's a good one, a new one. The president of the founder is a good one. Okay, so these slides are free and it's available. If you all can give your, I think Sri has some of your emails, he'll forward it to you all. So we can move on faster. Okay, right, next slide. Step 6. Continue.
Step 6 of writing a book. Create the environment. Find a spot in your home that you feel is conducive to write. Maybe it's your office, a standing desk, or your dining table. Decide exactly what you need in advance so you are prepared every day when you sit down to write. Do you need music playing? If so, what kind? Do you want a candle, a cup of tea or coffee? Do you need to be near a window? Having all this determined in advance will help motivate you to get started and to make writing an enjoyable ritual.
Okay, let me tell you all, when I worked with Al Jazeera, the journalists there don't sit and write, you know. They have a table that level and they stand and write. And this guy could be standing the whole day. He won't go and sit. And because the mind is active, the reason is the mind is active, he won't fall asleep. And a lot of them stand and write. This is a common thing that's happening in the West. Next slide. Step 7, sister, you want to?
Step 7, writing a book. Write, don't critique. As you are writing, try not to constantly review and critique your work. Just write. That consistent writing habit is so important. You can always go back through the book many times to rewrite and edit if you don't like something. But it will give you a huge boost to just finish the book and stay committed to the process.
Excellent. Next slide. Got it? Everyone who writes their own worst critic. So we move to the next slide. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, don't start criticizing yourself and stop. Move on, moving forward, right? Julie? Step 8.
Once you finish the book, set it aside for a few days or a couple of weeks. We have been so close to this project by writing it that you need to create some distance. Then go back and read over the entire book again. Correcting mistakes, rewriting sections as necessary, cutting out wording parts and tightening it up. Take out the words and passages that aren't absolutely crucial to the story or message.
Right, stick to the story. Next chapter. Go through the process a couple of times until you feel pretty good about what you have written, but don't get stuck in editing process. Sometimes it's better to give the editing to some people and fine. Don't go and give, say if you find this person editor, don't just give it to her. What I did was to get the best results, give about 5 pages to this editor, 5 pages to this editor, and 5 pages to this editor. Then you get it back and you see whose work is better. Whose work do you like? Whose work would the people like to read? So then you choose the best. And of course you can pay them, $2 or $3 depending on your friends. And friends will do it for you free. Okay, go through the next one. Sister, you want to read?
Here's a word that need to be written.
Paul Coelho.
You should write because you love the shape of stories and sentences and the creation of different words on a page. Writing comes from the reading, and reading is the finest teacher of how to write.
Okay, next one.
Writing is like sex. First, you do it for love. Then, you do it for your friends. And then, you do it for money.
Right. Okay, good. I didn't say that. Virginia Woolf. Famous author Virginia Woolf. Okay. Step 9. Even the most experienced professional writers use editors. You don't want a book full of inconsistencies and grammatical mistakes. The editor checks facts, verifies headings, and all these things. Next. Don't skimp on editing your book. Yes, you will have to pay for a good editor, but check around. Ask from previous other book writers too. Next.
Just option.
Yeah.
Usually, how much editor charges for that book like yours? Exactly, roughly.
What I did was I paid about 1,000 to this editor for the first 6 chapters. Editing first 6 chapters, 6 or 8 chapters. Then after that, once I wrote the whole thing, then that editor couldn't. She had a lot of other work to do, and she couldn't take on. You have to be flexible. So what I did, I wrote the whole thing, and then I gave another editor in the Star to look through it, and I rushed her through it because it was already edited by after that first person, another person. Then, so I gave her about $500, and she edited the whole thing and rushed her through it because she was a friend. We go to yoga every week together, and so it's your brothers, sisters, and then finally my own daughters, my twins, helped me with my editing, and my journalist daughter didn't help me. The 2 daughters, one is a nutritionist, one is doing her masters in law now after a bar in Birmingham, so they helped me. Okay, move on.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
For a book written, you talk about inconsistency, right? For a book written by 30 authors, should there be any consistencies in it?
Good. Give them the guidelines. Like for my book, the next book, I told them this is a book on bringing Malaysians together, unity, and this is the title of my book, Love Ends Hate, and it's like the famous book Eat, Pray and Love. So 3 words: love ends hate. Does that tell everything? The Malaysian story, this unity we are having, and then maybe after that we are one or something like that, a subtitle.
Give them guidelines.
Guidelines, yeah. Give them guidelines. Okay, move on. Step 10. Brother, you can read the step 10.
I could write an entire book on how to publish and market your book, but I'm including a mention of it here because you don't want your wonderful book to languish in the documents folder of your computer. You may not feel completely happy with it or think it's the next New York Times bestseller, but that's okay. Launch it and get it out there so others can read it, and you can have the satisfaction of having your first published book under your belt.
Yeah, and because things change so much, honestly, I didn't have a proper launch for this book. All that I did was I went and presented to Mahathir, and the media was there, and they picked it up, and there was no launch. But so, I'm a out of the ordinary guy, think differently, not necessarily, and still it became bestseller without a launch. So, okay, next slide. With every book you write, you publish, you will learn more, become better writer. Like my friend said, the 6th book only I hit it as the first bestseller. You will be inspired by other writers. Or read, other writers, how other writers have become. Next slide. Okay, the cover is very important. Why this book sold? Mahathir was the hero that time. I don't know now. And then people's power. And people's power, timely, currency, people's power. Okay, continue, next slide. So cover is very important. Interesting facts, craft a description that hooks, you saw how my chapters, I hooked it to Ahmad and then to Malaysians, have an awesome title that sells. Personally market, I do personally market myself too, but through MPH and Popular I sold almost 10,000. Continue, next one.
Take pride in your work.
Take pride, next slide. How to do it? Okay, move on, we'll move faster. Always carry a notebook, journal, think what if, and read. Write a book you want to read. Don't talk about it, what you're writing. Okay, carry on.
What is think of what if?
What is the situation, like, a lot of what ifs are here, if Barisan loses and, and working bags and imaginary. But this is non-fiction. Okay, next one. Writing books.
Prof, there's the last sentence, don't talk about what
right.
Why is that so?
That's because sometimes you talk about it so much that you don't write. Right, that's the danger there. So, And then people's expectations. Okay, next slide. Okay, sister, you want to read that?
Writing books is the closest man ever come to childhood. Find out the reason that commands you to write. See whether it has spread its roots into the very depth of your heart. Confess to yourself you would have to die if you were forbidden to write. Maria writes. As a writer, you should not judge, you should understand. Ernest Hemingway.
Famous writer. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, this is Krishnamoorthy played a key role. Next one. That's what this book is all about. Next slide. Thank you for another day. This is the first page that I wrote, and I was different. Next one. I think come to the end. How to do it? Find your voice. You can see my voice coming out. The sharing, giving, caring, loving. How to from poverty to happiness. Just get to the end. Keep moving. Keep moving. Walk and network. This is what it's about. Networking. You network to get ideas, plan your books, get readers' attention, most important. And charting a new tomorrow. Anybody wants to read?
Charting a new tomorrow. Among the many inspirational icons, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad is one of whose footprints leave indelible marks of his life. Tun's is a philosophy of transparency, integrity, and justice. There is no room for pretentious talk or egoistic warfare. For him, it is about living and doing what is right and just for the masses.
This is from page 4. Continue, next slide. Next slide. Well, will tomorrow ever come? It is often said that when it rains, it pours. You read that one earlier. Next slide. Back in, this one we read. Yeah. Next one. Good. Think out of the box. Next slide. Forget the outline. This is some of y'all. I didn't have an outline for this book. No, I didn't have an outline. Forget the outline. Consider the setting, scenes, the setting, the imaginary, the Ahmad, the Malaysian, and then consider the point of views, father and daughter, the different points of view. Consider the protagonist and antagonist and all that. Continue. And think out of the box. Consider the conflict. You can see conflict and contrast in this, as I read some of the chapters. Consider the stakes, write what you don't know, set deadlines, but be realistic and kind. Next one. Stealing the people's will. I think we read this. Yeah, okay, move on. This is the other authors. Let's move on. Now, marketing your book. Very important, not writing. How do you market it? I was very lucky at the CEO friend of MPH. Next one. And then nowadays your marketing can go through so many social media, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. I got help from recruiters, recruited help from author friends, being the member of the Authors Club, and I must the lady sitting there quietly, she's one of the prime movers of the Authors Club, who put it down in black and white and got it off. Julie. Send WhatsApp messages, groups, place books in non-conventional areas. I place it in restaurants too. And then sometimes I forgot even to collect the money. Then they tell me, hey, your money is here. Promote bulk sales through friends. Some friends bought it, like my Bollywood producer, he bought about 300 copies and gave away. And next one. Create a Twitter campaign or whatever. I didn't do that. Get help from family and friends, deliver it to media and take it around. I did go to the media and get some publicity. Next slide. Okay, this was one of the, I think somebody attended. Julie, you attended this one, the first one. No, somebody here attended the first one. Kim, you attended, Kim, right? Kim, okay, next one. Now, okay, hold on, back to that. This is the famous Lawrence Chan, Dr. Lawrence Chan, great motivational speaker. And he has written a couple of books too. Carry on. We had it upstairs, more people. think like an editor, reporter, and all this. You all get the PowerPoint. Move on. Developing skills in writing free publicity and all that. You have to write a press release. Normally this thing is held over 2 or 3 hours. I'm trying to squeeze it in 1 hour. Then skills in the publicity again. Need to have contacts. Next slide. The next slide. Okay, that's almost the end. The next one. And have fun. Write your bestseller. Good luck. Quick questions. Any questions? How did you all find it? Interesting? Are you all inspired to write now? Yeah. Right, good. I hope I ignited the fire in you all to write. You must write. Don't stop.
I have a question.
Yes, madam.
I don't know what to write.
Write about your husband, children. Then, people write books on confidence. People write, boosting confidence. People write on relationships. How to,
just picking up on the comment that that person made about I want to write but don't know what to write. So Bertrand Russell once said, if you don't know what to write, go to Siberia, get an experience.
right.
Then you will know what to write.
Right. Good. Get an experience. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's give him a round of applause.
You can ask me questions afterwards.
Prof. Krishna has really given us an insightful journey into writing a book.
Sorry, take my email down and number if you all want to keep in touch.
You weren't listening when I gave you his telephone number just now.